Good morning, church. Welcome to Take 5. This morning we're in Revelation chapter 13, the first beast and the second beast. So let's read and then we'll break some stuff down and talk about it. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns and blasphemous names on its heads. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard, its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. And to it the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority. One of its heads seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed. And the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast, and they worshipped the dragon, for he had given his authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast, and who can fight against it?" And the beast was given a mouth, uttering haughty and blasphemous words. And it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, that is, those who dwell in heaven. Also it was allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them, and authority was given it over every tribe and people and language and nation. And all who dwell on earth will worship it, everyone whose name has not been written before the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who was slain. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. If anyone is to be taken captive, to captivity he goes. If anyone is to be slain with the sword he must be slain. Here is a call for the endurance and faith of the saints. Then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose mortal wound was healed. It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of the people. And by the signs that it is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak, and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. Also it causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark, that is, the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So, some cool stuff here. I don't know if it's cool. Some interesting stuff here. Kind of confusing upon first read. Kind of have to be in context of some of the other Revelation stuff that's going on. Coming out of Satan being thrown down to earth, and when it's talking about the dragon here, it's talking about Satan. So, from my understanding, it seems like Satan has given these 2 beasts some authority to do some just destruction and just cause mayhem. And as I was reading this, I was just kind of being brought back to, we already know the end to all this stuff. As I've been reading in Revelation and doing the Take 5s and stuff, God has already sealed the fate of the world. God has the victory. Spoiler alert, I guess, but all of this stuff that might happen to us or to the earth, ultimately God has victory. God's already won, and He, has control over what's happening. My favorite part of this is in verse 10. If anyone is to be taken captive, to captivity he goes. If anyone is to be slain with the sword he must be slain. Here is a call for the endurance and faith of the saints. So while all this stuff happens, we're to be set apart and different. So, there's not going to be this big fight or anything like that. Our main focus is still just going to be endurance and faith. And just staying true to God's word, what He calls us to be as Christians and as followers of Jesus. Going back up into 8, and all who dwell on earth will worship it, everyone whose name has not been written before the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who was slain. God already knows. God already has victory. He's sovereign over all of this stuff, all of this mayhem and destruction that Satan causes here on earth. God has already beat all of that. And I know I've just been pretty much repeating that over and over, but that's just something I have to just pump into my own mind every day. Just reminding myself, when I get down or whatever, or something weird goes on throughout the day, God already has victory over today. And God has victory over what's to come. So, no matter what mayhem or destruction Satan tries to cause here, God has already sealed the fate of him, and he's sealed the fate of those who have salvation. And that's awesome news this morning. So, I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I will see y'all next week.